There's a $20 charge on your account that you haven't noticed in 6 months. The amount is small, but every time you avoid it, you pay again, in attention, in trust, and eventually in money. Have you ever opened your banking app and felt tension before you even saw the balance? That is the open loop pattern. Welcome to Money Patterns Decoded. Money is never just about money. It is a pattern. Today we're going to see how unfinished financial tasks keep calling you back, and how one 7-minute practice can begin to break the cycle. An open loop is any money matter that remains unresolved in your attention. An unpaid bill, an unused subscription, a refund you meant to claim, a vague promise to repay someone, a form you still haven't submitted. The dollar amount may be modest, the mental space is not. And here's the uncomfortable part. You can earn consistently, work hard, and care deeply about your future, while still losing financial momentum through small things you keep postponing. Imagine Maya. She earns enough to be stable, but 3 unfinished items are always running in the background. A medical bill she hasn't called about, a subscription she forgot to cancel, and a refund sitting in her email. None of those problems is financially catastrophic. Together they make every payday feel like another problem to solve. She checks her accounts, but she doesn't feel informed. She feels pursued. That is the pattern. The mind tends to keep unfinished tasks active, almost like browser tabs that never close. You may not be thinking consciously about the overdue form, but part of your attention is still assigned to it. Then avoidance adds a second cost. Every time you say, "I'll check that account," and don't, you create evidence that your intentions are not reliable, the fee matters, the damaged trust matters more. That's the mechanism. And the pattern can look responsible from the outside. You're researching repayment options, you're comparing accounts, you're reading about wealth. But are you taking the 5-minute action? Because awareness can become another form of delay. Most people don't see their money patterns because they live inside them. They call it being busy. They call it uncertainty. A more precise description is scattered attention, protecting an unfinished decision. So don't begin with self-criticism. Begin with evidence. Look for the statement you avoid opening. Look for the charge you no longer recognize. Look for the repayment promise with no amount or date. Look for the task you have moved to tomorrow so many times that tomorrow has become an identity. You cannot close what you refuse to see. But seeing it is not the same as solving everything at once. There's also a useful spiritual image here. An unresolved money matter can feel like a cord reaching backward into the past. I'm not asking you to treat that as a literal supernatural explanation. Use it as a reflective metaphor. The cord represents attention still tied to an old obligation, an old fear, an old promise, or an old version of yourself. Your body is in the present, but part of your financial identity is still negotiating with yesterday. This is where inner alchemy becomes practical. You take something vague and emotionally charged and give it a defined form. Name the obligation. Identify the next physical action. Give that action a real place and time. The language of energy helps you notice what is divided. Your calendar, your account, and your completed action show whether anything has actually changed. Here is the reframe. Money is a river moving through channels of attention, decision, and trust. If those channels are blocked by unfinished tasks, pushing harder will not create clean movement. You may earn more and still feel poor in capacity. You may receive more and still lose money through neglect. The answer is not constant force. It is deliberate direction. And if you're hearing this as another productivity rule, stop. The goal is not to clear every task and become a perfect financial machine. Closure is not punishment. It is not perfectionism. The goal is to stop letting one avoidable item occupy your entire day. Sometimes closure means paying the bill. Sometimes it means asking for information, canceling a service, or scheduling a decision for a real date. So here is your daily shift. Give it 7 minutes. For the first part, write down every open money loop that comes to mind: the unpaid item, the unclear charge, the avoided message, the document, the subscription, the promise. Don't solve them yet. Get them out of your head and onto one visible page. This is not a confession. It is a map. Then circle one item, not the one that creates the most shame, but the one with meaningful impact and a clear, useful next step. Deal with the credit card is not an action. Open the latest statement and write down the balance, minimum payment, and due date is an action. Fix my subscriptions is not an action. Review the last 30 days of recurring charges is an action. Now do that action if you can. If the larger issue cannot be completed in 7 minutes, schedule the next step with a precise date and time. Not later this week. Write, Thursday at 6:30 p.m. I will call the provider and ask for the repayment options. Precision gives your attention a trustworthy route forward, even before the entire problem is solved. Take the unused subscription, cancel it, check the confirmation, and record the monthly amount released. If a refund is possible, schedule a request, then write one sentence: I noticed the leak, and I closed it. That sentence matters because it connects awareness to action. At the end, record what capacity came back: a known balance, a sent message, a canceled charge, or simply less dread. Keep the practice grounded. Spiritual language can help you recognize a pattern, but your bank statement, calendar, and completed actions tell you whether the pattern is changing. The closure sweep does not replace a budget, debt repayment plan, saving strategy, or qualified financial guidance. It supports those things by returning your attention to the decisions that make them work. One meaningful loop at a time is enough. Let's bring this home. The open loop pattern appears when unfinished money tasks remain active in the background. The mechanism is attention, avoidance, and weakened self-trust. The cord to the past is a useful metaphor for energy still tied to unresolved obligations. The reframe is that money needs channels, not constant force. And the shift is 7 minutes. List the loops. Choose one. Define the physical next action. Complete it or schedule it precisely and record what changed. One completed shift changes the evidence you have about yourself. Today, don't promise to become a completely different person. Choose one unresolved money item and close the next inch of it. Your future does not need a grand speech. It needs evidence that you are present, that you can decide, and that your word can become movement. That is the money pattern, that is the mechanism, and that is your shift today. If you're ready to decode the full architecture of your financial life, explore my complete library at Desmarques.com. Money is a pattern. Awareness is the key.